So hopefully people can see my screen there. So today I'm here to talk about DCU's MA program in history. My name is Dr. Marnie Hay. I'm one of the lecturers who contributes to the MA in history. I teach one of the modules and I do some lectures on another module. Normally, the chair of the program, Dr. Dahi O'Coran, would be talking to you today, but he wasn't able to be here. So I'm going to fill in, so please bear with me. And we'll just move on just to let you know what you can expect from today's webinar. What I'm going to do is suggest some reasons why you might choose DCU for your postgraduate degree and explain why we have a strong postgraduate offering here. Tell you a little bit about the School of History and Geography here at DCU, and then tell you about our MA program in history, talk about a few potential careers you might consider, and then address some of the frequently asked questions about the program. So why choose DCU? Well, we're a young university, but we're also an up-and-coming university. And as you can see from the images on the screen here, DCU is now ranked in the top 200 universities in the world for arts and humanities. And you can see that our rankings are also strong for social sciences, and that we won an award in 2021 for being University of the Year. So really, this is an up-and-coming university, and I think it's a great place to work, but also a great place to study. So in terms of our postgraduate offerings, we offer 25 postgraduate courses in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences alone. And of course, that would be, as a historian, that would be the faculty I'm most familiar with. We have over 80,000 graduates worldwide. So we've got a number of alumni, and that's growing all the time. And also, too, we can offer a very personal experience to you. Our academics work closely with our students to help them prepare for the future that they want. And we're not a huge department here in the School of History and Geography, but I think we're able to get to know our students, and I think that leads to a more personal experience. Now, in terms of our school, we're actually really unique in Ireland. There's no other School of History and Geography in Ireland. So this enables us to provide a very special kind of experience to our students. And it also means that as part of the MA program, you'll be introduced to historical geography as well, and develop some mapping skills learning how to use ArcGIS. So this is a slightly different thing than you would get in other MA and history programs here in Ireland. So we're kind of special. We're also recognized nationally and internationally for our teaching, and also that we are research active, and we are publishing our research, and it is having an impact. And in particular, one of the things that makes us special on this island is that we have a real concentration of historians who specialize in the whole Irish Revolutionary period, and particularly 20th century Ireland. There's 4 of us that actually specialize in that area. So if that's something you're interested in, you couldn't do better than DCU than to study the Irish Revolution and its aftermath here at DCU. But that's not to say we don't have wonderful historians and historical geographers working in other areas as well. So about the MA in history, what we're trying to do when we offer this degree is to help our students to gain a deeper understanding of Ireland's socioeconomic, cultural and political history. And in terms of our time periods that we're covering, we cover from the Middle Ages all the way to the present day. So we have a full scope of Irish history that we can offer you. But there will be more than Irish history. It's not just Irish history. It just happens to be something that we really specialize in. So why might you choose this particular MA program? Well, you have the opportunity to either study on a full-time basis and do your degree over a 1-year period, or if that doesn't suit, perhaps you're working full-time, or maybe you also have family responsibilities. For other people, it suits them better to do the degree part-time over 2 years. One of the benefits of doing it part-time is that you actually have more time to work on the dissertation part of the degree program. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the presentation. So we really do. We have, the teaching, because we tend to be a smaller school. We also, in terms of the number of students, we wouldn't have loads and loads of MA students. It means that you're going to be in small classes. It's going to be a lot of interactive discussion. And I think that really helps students to really engage with what they're learning about, and also to get to know the other students on the program. And we really believe that this is important, that kind of interactive teaching. It's a way of learning about the world today and how our future is being shaped, particularly here in Ireland. So in terms of the program structure, how this works, you're going to take a series of modules, and these are taught through a combination of seminars. You might have workshops, like when you're learning how to use ArcGIS, you'd be actually in a computer lab playing around with the software. There'll be lots of small group discussion and even field trips when possible. And as things are opening up again, as we kind of head out of the pandemic, it'll be more possible for us to take students on field trips again. So that'll be very exciting in the coming year. We have a really strong emphasis on active and independent learning. So you're not just being spoon-fed. A lot of this is you're going to have to really engage with the sources yourself. You're going to be, you'll get advice and you'll get guidance, but ultimately we want you to learn how to become historians, learn how to develop your own research projects, so that you will, coming out of this, have the skills to develop as an independent researcher. All of our modules on the program are 10 credits, and they're all examined by continuous assessment. So you're not going to be doing an exam. Instead, you're going to be writing reviews or essays, research papers. You might do learning journals about different readings, and of course, class presentations as well. So it really gives you a variety of ways in which to express yourself. Now, in terms of the modules that are on offer, so two of the first modules that you might take are interpretation and argument in history. And that's basically a module that introduces you to the concept of historiography. And I know that's a word that can kind of be a little bit intimidating for students. But really what you're learning about with historiography is how different historians have interpreted events around the past, and the whole idea of making an argument and backing it up, and all the different ways in which you could have 3 historians looking at the same event, and they might have different interpretations of what was going on, why it was going on, and they would have different arguments about this. You might have different schools of thought. So these kinds of things are being introduced in that particular module. Now, I'm the module coordinator for research methods for the historian. So this is a module where you're learning how to, become a historian. Now, many of these skills, if you've done history previously, you may have picked up, but we're trying to get you to operate at a higher level. So we'll be talking about what steps do you need to take when you're developing a historical research project? What kinds of, how might you engage with different types of sources, whether it's written sources or visual sources. Also, we're introducing you to some of the different archives here in Dublin where you might be engaging with primary sources. So, and also talking about increasingly, a lot of primary sources have been digitized and they're available online. And that brings other challenges. So we'll be talking about those kind of things in the module. But again, it's trying to equip you with the skills you need to get out there and do your own historical research. We also have a module on gender and society in Ireland since about the mid-19th century into the 20th century. So that enables us to look at Ireland through that lens of gender. There's also a module on Ireland in the 20th century, looking at crisis, continuity, and change. So again, you may have studied 20th century Ireland elsewhere at an earlier stage, but this is getting you to look at it at a deeper level. We also have a module on the Irish Revolution in a revolutionary world. Not that surprising that we have a module on the Irish Revolution, given that we have a concentration of historians, including myself, who specialize in the Irish Revolution. But what makes this module special is that you're not just looking at the Irish Revolution from an Irish perspective, we're putting it into a wider European perspective. What's going on at the same time elsewhere? How does the Irish experience compare to what was going on in other countries? And also there's a module on Ireland's landscapes from the plantations to the Celtic Tiger. And given that we're a school of history and geography, it's not that surprising that we would be able to offer a module that focuses on the Irish landscape, because we do have historical geographers in the school. So that also, and I should also mention, as part of the research methods for the historian, that's where we teach you how to use ArcGIS, and you learn how to use mapping as a tool for your research. So those are the modules you would do. And then you have to do a dissertation, and that's 30 credits out of a 90 credit degree program. So the dissertation enables you to develop your own historical research project. You need to do something that's original, and you get a chance to do your own primary source research, and really come up with a longer piece of work. Usually a dissertation might have an introduction, 3 to 4 chapters, and a conclusion. So it really takes what you've maybe done before, or some people haven't done a history degree before, but it really kind of gives you a chance to really stretch out as a historian and see if this is really for you. So in terms of our learning outcomes, we want students to acquire specialist knowledge and understanding about how complex modern Irish history is, but also to get you thinking about historical geography as well. We also want our students to enhance their critical, analytical, and interpretive skills, and all of the activities that you'll engage in as part of the degree program will help to enhance those skills. And because of the dissertation component, you're going to learn how to develop the ability to plan, to research, and to write a substantial original research project on a historical topic. And also you'll cultivate transferable skills. So you're going to learn how to think independently, how to analyze, how to communicate both orally and in writing, how to organize your project and your time. So these are all the kinds of skills that you transfer to any career, not just something related to history. In terms of potential careers, really this degree is highly versatile, and our graduates have gone on, some of them have gone on to careers in education, so becoming history teachers. Others have gone into the area of university or arts administration. Others might go into business, consultancy. Also the civil service would be another area that people have gone into. The heritage sector, so things to do with museums, doing tours, historical tours, all sorts of things in that area. Also journalism, media and publishing, particularly things related to history and heritage. And some students who find that they really have a real talent for doing historical research and a passion for it, go on to do doctoral research and go on to do their PhD. Now, here's a couple of testimonials from previous students. I'm hoping you can see them on the screen. I'll let you read them for yourself, but you can see that they both individuals really enjoyed their program and got a lot out of it. And I think too, doing an MA in history, in some cases, for some people, it's kind of the finishing touch to their BA program if they did one in history. For some people, they may have done a BA in something else, but they had a passion for history, and this is a chance to try that out. And for others, they realize this is really something that they want to do for the rest of their lives, and they might go on to do a PhD. And this is where they find out whether they have the ability to do that. In terms of entry requirements, you need a degree at the level of an Irish or a UK honours undergraduate degree. It has to be a 2-2 or above, or the equivalent. Could be in history or a cognate subject. So if maybe in English or in politics or something like that. Now, we say a 2-2. I would say, though, to be honest, students who've got a 2-1 degree or above tend to be more comfortable in this program and find it a little bit easier to tackle. I'm not saying it's easy, but sometimes students with a 2-2 might struggle a bit depending on why they got that 2-2. So if it was a case of maybe you did your degree and you maybe weren't quite ready for university, not maybe ready to really devote yourself to your academics, but you're actually very bright, you may find that coming back and doing the master's, maybe you're ready for it and you can really show what you're all about. But also applicants with appropriate combinations of professional qualifications or experience may also be considered if they don't have the BA. Now, in English language competence, that would be for anybody for whom English is not their first language. And then there's also a personal statement that you would need to write up about why you want to do the degree. Now, how to apply? You can get further information about that. You can see the our website there where you can learn more. The course codes, if you're applying, you can see the code for the full-time MA program there and the part-time code as well if you were looking to apply for the degree. As I said, I'm filling in today, so you'd be better off contacting the chair of the program or looking online for some of that information. But some of our frequently asked questions, a lot of people can say they're very interested in history, but they didn't do history previously. Can you still apply? Absolutely. And often it can be the case that if you've done a degree in a different area, English or politics are really very handy cognates. But again, just depending on your professional experience and interests, you might find that this actually would work for you. I think one of the students I've been teaching this year actually is an engineer and doesn't seem to have had any trouble adapting to history because the passion was there. Now, in terms of our closing dates for applications this year, if you're a non-EU applicant, the deadline is the 1st of July 2022. And if you're an EU applicant, it's the 31st of July 2022. If you're somebody who will require a study visa to study here in Ireland, then you really need to apply for the full-time program. I don't think you can get study visas for part-time programs. Now, places are allocated on a first-come, first-served basis, so early applications are advised. And when do our classes take place? And this would be important for anybody that maybe has work commitments or family commitments. So the modules are taught on Wednesday evenings from 5 until 7 p.m. and on Friday mornings from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And all of the teaching takes place here on the St. Patrick's campus of Dublin City University, and that's located in Drumcondra. And again, this is all subject to public health advice. As we know, we've had to make a lot of changes and be very nimble in light of the pandemic. But certainly this year, we were doing all of our teaching on campus. Now, can the MA be taken online? No, this is an on-campus offering subject to public health advice. Of course, if the pandemic ramped up again and we had to go back online, that would be different. But this is an on-campus degree program. And when does the program start? Well, September 2022 is when it would start up again. And also, do you need to have a dissertation topic in mind before you start? Some people do, and that's fantastic. But if you don't, you can talk to the staff in the school and we'll help you identify a topic that fits in with your interest. Does your dissertation have to be on Irish history? And I know that the great focus of the program in terms of the modules is on Irish history, but no, you can do your dissertation on anything else. I mean, it has to be a history subject, but there are a couple of provisos. There have to be sufficient primary sources available and ones that you can access. And, if it involves research trips, you would need to have the funding to manage that yourself. So you need to have primary sources for your topic, but also we have to have somebody in the school who has the expertise to supervise your project. So for instance, students have done stuff on modern British history because there was somebody who could supervise that. We've also had students do things on modern European topics. We also have someone who does early modern Italy. So there are other areas of history that you can do your dissertation on, but we need to have the primary sources easily available and also somebody to supervise you. So what proportion of the MA does the dissertation account for? That's 30 out of the 90 credits awarded for the program. And if you'd like further information, I'll try to answer some questions in the chat now that I'm wrapping up my presentation. But the person who is the absolute expert on the program is the chair of the MA in History. That's my colleague, Dr. Dahi O'Coran. So please email him if there's any questions that you have after this session or ones that I'm not able to answer for you. So I'm going to stop sharing these slides now. I hope you've written down Dahi's email address if you need it. So I'm back here. I hope you can see me. If anybody has any questions about the program, please type them in the chat box and we'll see if I can answer them for you. And yes, definitely. Welcome there. Yeah, just to say the age range of our students, some of the students come directly after their BA, but we also have a lot of retirees who do the MA as a retirement project, or people who are still working and they might do it part-time because they have a passion for history or they think it might help their career in some way. So you'll be with a range of people in terms of age. And yes, we love people of all ages. I'm being asked if there's an exit route with a graduate diploma if you don't complete the second year. That's something I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. That's really something that you'd have to ask Dahi O'Coran about. He'd be able to confirm that. And I'll just put, he's the chair of the MA in History program, and I will put his email address here in the chat box. So please let him know if you have questions. As I said, I'm not the chair of the program, so I know some things, but not all. Does anybody else have any questions? I sort of feel like, in the classroom, you might remember the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and there was the teacher who goes, anybody, when trying to get questions or comments from students. But again, any other questions? I have to say, just in general, that this is a really nice program to teach on because the students who come are really interested in history. They're here because they want to be here. And that really is, for me, and I think for all of us, it's a real pleasure to teach on this program.